The galaxy had rules. Every species learned them sooner or later. Rule 1, power decides value. Rule 2, weak worlds do not matter. Rule 3, survival is earned, not given. Humans learned these rules late. And paid for it early. The forgotten world. Earth was not special. That was the problem. No rare minerals. No extreme gravity that created strong bodies. No ancient knowledge hidden beneath its surface. Just a small blue planet, orbiting an average star, filled with a species that argued more than it agreed. When humanity first reached the stars, the Galactic Union barely noticed. The first contact report was short. Humans. Bipedal. Short lifespan. Emotion-driven. Technologically average. The final line mattered most. Low priority. Humans were given observer status. No vote. No protection. No promises. The galaxy moved on. Humanity's first lesson. The lesson came in fire. A roaming alien faction known as the Virex arrived without warning. They were not conquerors. They were harvesters. They stripped planets. Took resources. Left ruins. Union patrols saw them coming. They did nothing. Earth was outside protected space. Human cities burned from orbit. Satellites fell. Communication collapsed. Humanity screamed into the void. No one answered. 8 billion lives were suddenly very alone. What broke first? Governments collapsed first. Then systems. Then hope. But humanity did not disappear. They hid. Underground cities. Ocean colonies. Broken space stations repaired with stolen parts. Humans learned fast. No help was coming. So they stopped asking. The human way. Humans rebuilt quietly. They did not announce progress. They did not ask permission. They did not threaten. They scavenged alien wreckage. Studied enemy tech. Learned from failure after failure. Every human child grew up knowing one truth. If we fall again, no one will save us. That truth shaped everything. The galaxy forgets again. Decades passed. The Union forgot Earth existed. New wars came. New species rose. Old ones fell. And somewhere in forgotten space, humanity prepared. Not for revenge. For survival. The day the galaxy noticed. The Virex returned. They expected ruins. Instead, they found resistance. Human ships appeared. Not elegant. Not powerful. But stubborn. Human weapons did not match alien standards. But they hit where it hurt. Supply lines. Engines. Command ships. The Virex lost 3 vessels. That had never happened before. The galaxy noticed. A dangerous question. Union analysts reviewed old data. These are the same humans? One asked. Yes, another replied. But, improved. The council grew uneasy. Humans were not supposed to adapt this fast. They were not supposed to survive alone. But they had. The Virex did not understand what they were seeing. Human ships were wrong. They were not beautiful. They were not symmetrical. They were not built according to any known alien doctrine. They were patched together. Scarred. Uneven. But they moved with purpose. And they did not retreat. The first human victory. The Virex fleet had destroyed hundreds of worlds. They relied on one truth. Fear always breaks resistance. Humans did not break. Human ships swarmed the Virex harvester vessels. They did not aim for shields. They did not waste energy on heavy armor. They went for engines. They went for control nodes. They went for anything that made escape impossible. The battle lasted only 20 minutes. The Virex lost 4 ships. Humans lost 12. The galaxy measured victory by numbers. Humans measured it differently. The Virex did not harvest Earth that day. That was enough. Why humans fought differently. Human commanders studied the battle footage in silence. They did not celebrate. They asked questions. Why did this tactic work? Why did that one fail? What can we lose next time instead? Human strategy was not built on winning. It was built on surviving mistakes. On Earth, failure had always been a teacher. Sometimes a brutal one. The truth about fear. The Virex retreated. Not because they were defeated. Because something felt wrong. Humans did not behave like prey. Prey runs. Prey hides. Prey begs. Humans fought like something with nothing left to lose. That made them unpredictable. And unpredictability is dangerous. The Union takes interest. For the first time in decades, the Galactic Union sent observers to human space. They expected desperation. They found order. Human settlements were hidden, layered, and prepared to evacuate at any moment. Power grids were decentralized. Food production was spread across dozens of locations. No single strike could end them. A Union observer recorded one sentence. Humans live as if collapse is normal. That sentence circulated quietly. A history written in ruins. Union historians began studying Earth. What they found disturbed them. Human history was a chain of disasters, ice ages, plagues, world wars, environmental collapse. Again and again, humans came close to extinction. And every time, they rebuilt. Not stronger. Just smarter. The second lesson. The Virex returned. This time with more ships. They adapted. Stronger shields. Faster weapons. New formations. Human losses were heavy. Entire colonies were abandoned. But the Virex noticed something strange. Every abandoned human world was empty. No mass death. No panic signals. No refugees drifting in space. Humans had already left. They had learned long ago that survival sometimes meant letting go. Humans do not defend everything. This confused the galaxy. Other species defended territory. Humans defended people. Planets could burn. Cities could fall. As long as humans lived, humanity lived. That mindset changed everything. A quiet expansion. While the Virex focused on destruction, humans expanded sideways. Small outposts. Mobile habitats. Hidden stations in places no one wanted. Radiation zones. Debris fields. Dead systems. Humans turned danger into cover. They did not need safe space. They needed unnoticed space. The beginning of a reputation. Reports spread. Humans are hard to eradicate. Humans abandon worlds without warning. Human resistance increases after losses. The Union did not like this. Unstable species were dangerous. Especially ones the galaxy had ignored. The question the Council avoided. A Union Council member finally asked the question no one wanted to hear. What happens if humans stop running? No one answered. Because deep down, they all knew. The day humans stopped running. For years, humans survived by moving. They left burning worlds behind. They abandoned cities before enemies arrived. They treated planets like shelters, not homes. That strategy kept them alive. But survival alone was no longer enough. The moment everything changed. The change did not come from victory. It came from exhaustion. Human fleets were tired of retreating. Human engineers were tired of rebuilding the same things. Human children were tired of growing up without knowing where home was. A quiet decision spread across human space. If we must fight forever, then we choose where. The system called Ashfall. Humans selected a system the galaxy considered useless. A dead star. Broken planets. Radiation storms that destroyed sensors. The Union had marked it uninhabitable centuries ago. Humans moved in. They hollowed asteroids. Anchored stations inside debris clouds. Built cities beneath shattered crusts. They did not terraform. They adapted. Ashfall became the first place humans chose to stand. The trap no one saw. The Virex followed human movements as they always had. They assumed another evacuation. They were wrong. When the Virex fleet entered Ashfall, human ships did not flee. They waited. Radiation blinded Virex sensors. Debris interfered with targeting. Navigation systems failed. Human ships emerged from everywhere. Not in formation. In chaos. Human commanders did not give detailed orders. They gave intent. Hold them. Break them. Do not let them leave. Humans fight without rules. The battle was brutal. Human ships sacrificed themselves to block escape routes. Old stations were detonated to create debris storms. Gravity traps crushed hulls. Humans boarded Virex ships again. This time, they stayed. The Virex lost control of the battlefield. For the first time, they were hunted. The cost of standing still. Ashfall burned. Human casualties were severe. Entire stations were lost. Thousands died. But something else happened. The Virex lost more. Much more. They retreated in disarray, leaving behind wreckage, dead ships, and something new. Fear. The Union watches closely. The Galactic Union observed the battle in silence. This was not a lucky victory. This was planning. Human tactics were no longer defensive. They were deliberate. Calculated. Dangerous. Union strategists updated their assessments. Humans are no longer a passive survival species. Another line followed. They are learning how to choose their battles. A shift in human thinking. After Ashfall, humans changed. They stopped hiding completely. They began fortifying key systems. They built ships not just to escape, but to control space. Human ship designs evolved. Still ugly. Still patched. But now purpose-built. Every ship had redundancy. Every crew trained for failure. Every commander empowered to act independently. No single loss could break them. The Virex make a fatal assumption. The Virex believed humans had reached their limit. Ashfall had cost them too much. They assumed humans would return to retreat. They were wrong again. Because Ashfall taught humanity something important. Standing ground did not mean dying. It meant deciding what was worth dying for. The galaxy begins to choose sides. Smaller species noticed. If humans could hold territory against the Virex, maybe others could too. Quietly, supplies reached human space. Volunteers joined human crews. Information was shared. The Union did not stop it. They were no longer sure they should. Here is part 4, continuing the HFY story in the same style, simple English, strong pacing, made for long voiceover and audience retention. The thing humans share. The Union had ruled the galaxy for thousands of cycles. Not through cruelty. Through control. They decided which worlds mattered. Which species were protected. Which lives were worth saving. Humans had never been part of that decision. Until now. The spread no one planned. After Ashfall, something unexpected happened. Humans talked. Not just among themselves. They talked to everyone. They shared designs. They shared tactics. They shared failures. Where other species guarded knowledge, humans gave it away. The Union noticed a pattern. Every species that worked with humans survived longer. That made humanity dangerous. Why the Union was afraid. The Union did not fear human weapons. They feared human ideas. Humans believed power should be shared. That preparation was more important than status. That survival was not a privilege. If those ideas spread, the Union's hierarchy would collapse. So the Union did what it always did. They tried to control the narrative. The official statement. The Union issued a warning. Human expansion is unstable. Human tactics are reckless. Association with humanity increases risk. Some species listened. Most did not. Because they had seen the truth. The Union protected systems. Humans protected people. The Virex strike back. The Virex adapted. They always did. This time, they ignored human fleets. They targeted what humans valued most. Refugee convoys. Supply hubs. Civilian habitats. They wanted to break morale. They did not understand human morale. The human response. Human ships arrived late to one attack. Too late. Thousands were dead. The silence afterward was heavy. Then a human commander spoke. No more running. Human fleets reorganized. Not to defend everything, but to hunt. The first human offensive. Humans struck deep into Virex territory. They did not aim for planets. They aimed for production. Shipyards vanished. Resource worlds burned. Communication hubs went dark. Humans did not conquer. They crippled. The galaxy watched in disbelief. This was not survival. This was war. The cost of choosing sides. The Union condemned the attacks. Publicly. Privately, their analysts were alarmed. The Virex were slowing. Human pressure was working. And worse. Other species were joining. Not under Union command. Under human coordination. A new kind of alliance. Humans did not lead like rulers. They asked, "What do you need? What can you lose? How do we keep your people alive?" That approach built loyalty. Not fear. The alliance grew. Quietly. The war changes shape. The Virex found themselves fighting everywhere. Not just fleets. Resistance. Sabotage. Supply failures. The war became exhausting. And exhaustion was something humans understood very well. The Union's silent realization. The Union finally understood. They had made a mistake centuries ago. They had treated survival as currency. Humans treated it as a right. And now, the galaxy was starting to agree. The Galactic Union had a choice. They could continue watching. They could pretend neutrality. They could let the war decide everything. For the first time in centuries, doing nothing felt dangerous. The Emergency Council. The Union called an emergency session. Species that had never shared a chamber now sat together. Ancient beings. Synthetic minds. Long-lived observers. One question dominated the room. What do we do about humans? Not the Virex. Humans. The problem with humanity. Union analysts spoke carefully. Humans do not destabilize systems with force alone, one said. They destabilize belief. Humans proved that survival did not require permission. That preparation mattered more than status. That small species could resist great powers. If this idea spread further, the Union's authority would weaken. Perhaps permanently. A dangerous proposal. Someone suggested containment. Not destruction. Isolation. Cut off human supply lines. Restrict movement. Limit communication. Starve the alliance quietly. It was a clean solution. On paper. The Union acts. Union patrols began enforcing new borders. Human convoys were stopped. Allied ships were inspected. Trade routes closed. Officially, it was for galactic stability. Humans understood the truth immediately. Humanity responds. Humans did not protest. They adapted. They rerouted supplies. Shared resources more tightly. Built locally. And they sent one message. Not a threat. A question. What happens when we stop helping you? The first collapse. The question answered itself. A non-human system faced a Virex raid without human support. Their defenses failed. Their evacuation plans were outdated. Millions died. The Union blamed humanity publicly. Privately, panic spread. The truth: the Union could not escape. Human aid had been holding the line. Human planning had been preventing collapse. Human coordination had filled gaps the Union ignored for centuries. Removing humans did not restore order. It exposed weakness. The breaking point. Another system fell. Then another. The Union realized too late that humanity was no longer a participant. They were infrastructure. The decision no one wanted. The council reconvened. This time, the tone was different. The question was no longer how do we control humans? It became, how do we work with them? A message to humanity. The Union sent a formal request. Not a demand. A request. They asked humans to join the council as equals. To help shape galactic defense. To stabilize what was breaking. Humanity's answer. The human response was delayed. Then it came. We will help, it said. But not as rulers. Silence followed. The Galactic Union expected demands. Territory. Power. Protection. Special status. That was how deals were made in the galaxy. Humans surprised them again. Humanity's conditions. The human response was simple and direct. We will help, they said. But no species will ever be abandoned again. The council hesitated. Humans continued. No more protected worlds and forgotten worlds. No more ranking lives by value. No more silence when a system screams for help. The chamber was quiet. These were not military conditions. They were moral ones. Why this was dangerous. Union elders understood the risk immediately. Agreeing meant losing control. It meant responsibility. It meant admitting past failure. Some opposed it fiercely. This is idealism, one ancient delegate said. It will weaken us. A human envoy replied calmly. It already has. The turning vote. The vote was close. Closer than any in Union history. In the end, fear decided. Not fear of humans. Fear of collapse. The Union agreed. Humanity was granted full council status. Not as rulers. As partners. The war changes again. With open cooperation. The galaxy moved faster than ever before. Human evacuation models became standard. Human redundancy systems were copied everywhere. Human command philosophy spread. Decentralized. Adaptive. Prepared for failure. The Virex faced something new. A galaxy that would not fall apart when hit. The Virex began to break. The Virex had always relied on one weakness. Panic. Now there was none. Attacked systems evacuated cleanly. Supply lines rerouted automatically. Counterattacks followed immediately. The Virex began losing ships faster than they could replace them. For the first time, they were on the defensive. A truth about humans. Union analysts wrote a new report. Humans are not exceptional because they are stronger. They are exceptional because they assume everything can fail. That mindset made them resilient. It made them dangerous. The final Virex push. Cornered, the Virex launched a massive assault. Not against humans. Against the core Union worlds. They aimed to shatter leadership. To end coordination. To force chaos. They underestimated one thing. Humans had planned for this. The human failsafe. Human-designed networks activated. Emergency command passed instantly to secondary nodes. Civilian populations were moved before the first shots landed. Defense fleets converged from unexpected vectors. The Union did not collapse. It adapted. The beginning of the end. The Virex offensive failed. Badly. They lost fleets. They lost momentum. They lost certainty. The galaxy realized something profound. The war was no longer about survival. It was about ending the threat. The galaxy had learned how to fight. Now it had to decide why. The final Virex stand. The Virex retreated to the edge of known space. Their remaining fleets gathered around a dying star, forming the largest force they had ever assembled. They planned one last strike. Not to win. To destroy as much as possible before the end. The Union prepared for the largest battle in its history. So did humanity. Humanity's role. Humans did not demand command. They did not seek glory. They did what they always had. They prepared for loss. Human planners assumed half the fleet would not return. Human medics prepared for casualties beyond counting. Human engineers built ships meant to hold together just long enough. Not to survive. To matter. The battle that decided everything. The final battle was chaos. Stars were hidden behind fire. Space itself shook with energy releases. Entire fleets vanished in seconds. The Virex fought with desperation. The galaxy fought with purpose. Human ships moved where the fighting was worst. They filled gaps. Took hits meant for others. Held positions long past reason. Human crews stayed at their posts until systems failed. Then they stayed anyway. The choice that ended the war. At the height of the battle, humanity made a decision no one expected. They opened evacuation corridors. Not for themselves. For the Virex. A broadcast went out on all frequencies. You can leave. The Union was shocked. The Virex were confused. The message continued. We are not here to erase you. We are here to stop you. The Virex had never been offered mercy. They did not understand it. But they understood loss. And exhaustion. They withdrew. Not in victory. Not in defeat. In surrender. The silence after. The war ended without celebration. Too many worlds were damaged. Too many lives were gone. Human fleets returned quietly. No parades. No monuments. They rebuilt. As they always had. The galaxy changes. The Union rewrote its laws. Protection was no longer selective. Preparation became shared responsibility. No system would ever be labeled low priority again. Human principles became standard. Not because humans demanded it. Because it worked. What humanity became. Humans were not rulers. They were not saviors. They became something rarer. A reminder. That survival is strongest when shared. That power fades, but preparation endures. That a species once ignored reshaped the galaxy without conquering it. The final record. The Union's final historical entry read. Humanity was never meant to survive. They were meant to endure. And in doing so, they taught the galaxy how. The last image. On a rebuilt Earth, under a quiet sky, humans looked up at the stars. Not with fear. Not with pride. With memory. And with resolve. Because if the galaxy ever forgot again, humanity would still be there. Ready. The end.